covered a lot of Disney Channel original movies here on the channel. More often than not, the stuff that's largely forgotten. Yeah, check out my Encino Woman review next. However, one of my favorites of the bunch was also a made-for-TV movie, I guess, and it was one of my more popular videos, that being my look back at the classic Susie Q, which is possibly Disney's darkest film to date. Maybe not, but it's up there. And at the same time, one of the most beloved, if I'm being honest, definitely one of the most beloved, like, lower budget Disney movies. And seriously, with the holiday season around and all, Susie Q is right up there with other Disney Halloween favorites, trust me. I can try to explain it, but you kind of had to be there. These DCOMs were coming out, and they were dealing with a lot of different genres, and they were always around in some form of my youth. There were really, films of all varieties here. Some being haphazard sequels or remakes or sequel remakes or whatever the hell Phenomenon 2 was. But sometimes, just sometimes, we got an original golden take for these flicks. Again, like Susie Q, but also other very well-loved classics like Smart House, The Other Me, The 13th Year, Horse Sense, Vedette Kelly, HE Double Hockey Sticks, Mr. Headmistress, My Date with the President's Daughter. I can go on. Needless to say, most of these films remain classics to anyone my age. And rightfully so. These movies were directly marketed to us, with relatable plot devices like sports, dating, and even a fun batch of Monster of the Week sci-fi type stuff when you think about it. All for the family audience, of course. And this being the 90s, well, Disney had to get extreme with it. And why not? Some of the better films of the time were sports-based, not like the Angels of the Outfield sequels.
And now, Matthew Lawrence and Christopher Lloyd in a brand new Angels movie, Angels in the End Zone.
Or the garbage picking, field goal kicking Tony Danza or whatever that was. No, I'm talking about extreme sports movies like Johnny Tsunami, Motocrossed, and the granddaddy of them all, Brink. Brink was a film that ultimately transcended the Disney Channel movie of the week. Hell, it even transcended and eclipsed extreme sports movies of the previous years. Demolished them, in fact. You may think you're more hardcore than Brink, but trust me when I say you are not. You can't even hold a candle to Gabriella. Before we get started, hit that like and that all button on that little bell down there. Do it now. It looks like a lot of you watching don't really interact much on the channel, so hey, leave me a comment too and get yourself some staunch merchandise. First order 20% off, link in pinned comment. But for now, staunch gang, throw on your fastball CD and join me as we try to not go bio on the 540 as we look back at Disney's most extreme sports comedy. Brink tells the tale of Andy Brinker, a self-described soul skater who, along with his ragtag bunch of stereotypical high school friends, rollerblade their days away for no other reason than to just have fun. Seriously, these guys they're dead ass here. Their only goal in life is to have fun rollerblading for their souls. But soul skating doesn't pay the bills, so when Brink's family is in need of some quick moolah, well, Brink decides to betray his best friends and lie to his family's face as he joins the local, obvious bad guys pro rollerblade team, Team X Blades, headed by the mischievous former Pee Wee football menace, Val Dick. Oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah, his name's just Val, apparently, but whatever. So, trials, tribulations, questioned loyalties, and some sick 50-50 grinds. It's pretty much by the numbers here, but by the numbers is a good thing for these kind of movies. This is a DCOM after all, and there's a reason why it's considered among the best.
You and me, and soon, Bloodsport 2, the next Kumite.
Sorry for that out of nowhere transition, but the origins of any successful family screenplay are oftentimes rooted in genre pictures, the good ones anyways. And the same can be said with a lot of these Disney Channel movies, In Brink's case, well, it was writer Jeff Schechter. He got to start with muscle, brawn, and blood with stuff like Kickboxer, landing him a big hit, that would of course spawn an interesting franchise on its own. And it would kind of jumpstart that genre, with these lesser budgeted actioners of the time. But that's not due to some big life event or like a relatable approach. Jeff, he's a writer. And in those days, a starving writer. So having some talent and drive, it really paid off in a very unique way. So in between ass-kicking scripts and spec action romps, he was doing a lot of rewrite work. which led to some script doctoring. And, he would work on some pretty big studio movies and eventually do some work for Disney, most notably the JTT vehicle, I'll Be Home for Christmas. And it was then that he would meet a lot of his future collaborators. So, it was all just business as usual for the dude until one day he was over at the Disney studios, who just so happened to be knocking around the idea of adapting this classic novel, Hans Brinker, or The Silver Skates, a golden age story that, well, was basically the furthest thing from cool and hip. But they literally had the book there, and they're trying to figure this thing out for a Disney Channel original movie, something that might be hard for some hardline suits, but not for Hollywood script writing extraordinaire Jeff Schechter. That was an easy land. He was like, hey, give me this book. I'm going to go home, I'm going to check it out, and I'll throw you a script. And within a few weeks, he had it done. And everyone loved it. So, they went right along with it, but they needed a director, and they just reached out to Greg Beeman. Now, Greg Beeman had already done Horse Sense and a few other things for the company. Most notably, though, he is the director of License to Drive. Hell yeah. So, coming from a no-nonsense school of 80s film, the ball was officially rolling with Greg Beeman. And good thing, too, because, he's great at capturing teen voices of any generation. We saw it done fantastically again with License to Drive. We're in good company here. But one thing any great writer-director duo needs when handling a teen film is a worth-a-shit teen cast. Another place that Brink excels. All things considered, we get some notable casting here overall, not just with the kids. Tackleberry. And of course, I got to mention Team Pup and Suds themselves, with young actors like Christina Vidal, who I always enjoyed in movies, as well as the immortal
Eric Von Detten,
Disney's TV It Boy. This dude previously worked with the company with Escape to Witch Mountain, where he actually co-starred with Sam Horrigan, who plays Val here. That's right, he was also Spike in Little Giants. Let me know if you want me to talk about that film down below. So after, his time in Pee-wee Hell, he found himself as part of Team X-Blades, along with his Little Giants co-star, Joseph Cimarron, actually, a recognizable face from the 90s, who oddly enough went on to produce content for Poppy. Oh, and the original Black Rangers here too, fucking A. Hey, it was the extreme 90s, and these kind of flicks were big business, even if they were small business, And while, this format is largely recycled, the working class kid, the family issues, higher grade bad guys made of their peers, the big match at the end, if you will. Think something like Karate Kid. Movies we've all seen before, but also movies that we'll keep seeing as long as they're made well, even today, in fact. But it was just different in the 90s. This little subgenre of young adult or sports kids movies, they dominated theaters for a while. And to be honest, also the video store shelves. And Brink, in my opinion, is the perfect storm of those two. A perfect mix between Hollywood production and Disney Channel original movie. Largely due to the script. To say that it's by the numbers would be an understatement, really. All the cliches are still here, though. And the film has even been accused of lifting elements from other movies, most notably the 90s rollerblade classic Airborne, which features a 90s fair-haired white California kid going up against some edgy teen bladers, culminating in a gnarly downhill race at the film's climax. Which sounds a lot like Brink, I guess, but obvious references aside, I don't think that the comparison's really valid. The genre had been going, since the 80s in variations, and Airborne wasn't the first one, to do this, to feature a fair-haired California boy going against some bad boys made up of his peers in some sort of extreme sport, culminating in a big downhill race in the climax. Thrashing anybody? But, all these films don't seem to be lost on Brink either. There's a few similarities, yeah, but when you look at it, in both Thrashing and Airborne, you get a climax with an insane downhill race of sorts. And while Airborne takes a more grounded approach, Thrashing does feature the sponsored team aspect, although, they're kind of the good guys in that flick. But also in Thrashing, the bad guys, being the daggers, well, they're way cooler than the goody two-shoe ramp locals, something that is also seen in Brink, as, let's face it, Team X-Blades, way cooler than Team Pup and Suds. Seriously, Brink's best friend here is annoying as shit. Sorry, I know I said that out of nowhere, but that guy's a wussy. In fact, I guess they all are, except Gabriella. Gabriella could have single-handedly kicked Team X-Blade's ass. He could have single-handedly kicked that Val Jerk's ass in Thrashing, and she could have smacked around that redheaded chick from Airborne at least a little bit. All that said, though, and I must say Airborne is the superior movie here. Let me know down below if you want to hear me talk about that one. But, all these movies are just in such good company with each other, even if Brink is a lot tamer than most, To be honest, the low budget and the on the go style of shooting here is on full display in Brink. That classic TV movie style where it's like get shit done already, you know what I mean? That's not really a detriment here at all. If anything, it gives a level of accuracy to Brink that other Blade movies just didn't have. Brink doesn't go out of its way to be flashy or anything. You know, you can see the day starting to overcast at some parts, shadows moving in at times, and other just, not ideal shooting conditions for a Disney comedy. Yet it's all done with competent photography and top-notch skating scenes. It all makes for like a seamless blend. Like if you were around this time when it came out, you got everything. You got your music videos, you got a lot of fastball playing throughout the movie, and some other stuff. A decent soundtrack here. You get your extreme sports. You got some drama thrown in there, some family drama with the dad and whatnot. You got your comedy. You got some slapstick happening. They throw a milkshake right in Val Dick's face. Combine that with weird vibes from like the era's ads and commercials and stuff that crept in here. I mean, it all wrapped up into one very unique family friendly bundle of goodness that for some reason is fondly remembered by anybody my age. It just for some reason cannot stand this little shit. Now, I don't want to spoil the movie by going on any further about it. It is worth your time, and I for one can't believe there hasn't been any kind of follow-up. Same to be said with most of these movies, While some of them did get sequels, all the worth it ones didn't, really. And trust me, the demand is there. We're here waiting. But for some reason, most of these titles aren't even available on Disney Plus. Brink used to be, but I don't know if it is anymore. Let me know down below if you grew up with this flick, and check out my Disney review playlist. There are indeed some bizarre films in that series. And let me know what to cover next, Soul Skaters. See you soon.